Hello again. Now I am alone at this stage, this MEO Impact stage. I'm here with you to talk about technology right now. We are about to talk if it is a challenge or an opportunity. And with me, I will have David Orban. He's an investor, entrepreneur, speaker, author, and thinker of the global technology landscape. He is originally from Bergamo. Hello, David.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, good morning. Thank you for being with us. So tell us if technology is a challenge or an opportunity.
Thank you very much. For me, definitely technology is a huge opportunity, and I want to illustrate it for you today using a specific example. The message that I want to let you have is what I call jolting technologies and of jolting times. The world around us is definitely changing, and it is humanity transforming it with the power that we have. These conferences for me are a wonderful opportunity to keep in touch and spread my thinking. Those of you who are inspired can get a deeper view of my message reading my book or subscribing to my YouTube channel, following my Facebook page, and on many other platforms such as Patreon. The industrial age and the industrialization that we are still going through has created opportunities for global emancipation, but it also went through a series of crises that from the 1973 oil crisis, the recession globally of the 80s, the dot-com crash of the year 2000, the 2008 subprime crisis is now culminating in the 2020 global pandemic. Now, the reason why I'm choosing artificial intelligence as a technology to illustrate the trends that I believe are so important today is because it is a vivid example of the power of technology and how important it is for us to understand it and to deploy it responsibly. Sustainability is not only environmental. Sustainability is also social, and the implications of technology are frankly going beyond what most people, especially regulators and policymakers, are considering. Artificial intelligence is very powerful because it really is able to leverage the rapid evolution of our computing systems. We are all accustomed to how computers and mobile phones are becoming more and more powerful year after year. And they are becoming specialized in executing AI applications. There are now AI chips inside your mobile phones that are doing all kinds of tasks, from speech recognition to image enhancement, and they are doing it better and better. In some ways, you can think about AI, that software that knows how to write software. Systems that learned how to learn. Actually, we are on the brink of being able to design systems that learn how to learn to learn. The reason why these stacks of learning abilities are so important is because they are really our way of thinking, our way of being creative, being able to take a domain of knowledge and moving it to another domain of knowledge. The example that I am showing is the performance improvement of not a series of programs, but of the same program as it applies its ability to learn to different games, chess, Go, shogi, becoming very rapidly able to operate at a superhuman performance. The understanding and analysis of the power of AI is something that concerns a lot of organizations. And Stanford University issued a report 2 years ago together with OpenAI, a premier research organization on AI applications and frameworks. And in this report, they compiled data to show how AI was increasing in power. Now, some of you may not be familiar with exponential technologies, and here actually we are going even beyond that paradigm. In looking at these charts, it is of fundamental importance to realize that the various steps in the vertical axis do not represent a constant increase in the values, but they represent orders of magnitude. So rather than talking about, for example, our ability to walk, and if we take 1 step and 2 steps and 3 steps, we will be 1, 2, 3 meters farther. Exponential trends imply that if we take 1 step at 1 meter, the second step will be of 10 meters, the third step 100 meters, and the fourth step 1 kilometer. This is the very important mental adaptation that you need to strive to achieve when you think about exponential technologies. So when Stanford looked at the data set, they were saying, well, we could think about this as 2 eras for artificial intelligence. One, where the power of AI doubled every 2 years, more or less. And now, they said 2 years ago, when the power of AI is doubling every 4 months. But their analysis is wrong. Because rather than talking merely of these 2 eras, we should be thinking about an increasing rate of acceleration in the power of AI, which mathematically is called jolting. It is a little bit like rockets. When they take off, they are not going at a constant speed. They are not even going at a constant acceleration. Since their mass is diminishing because they are consuming the propellant on board, they are going up to space at an increasing rate of acceleration. That is what is happening with artificial intelligence, which is jolting. 2 weeks ago, the CEO of NVIDIA, one of the leading makers of chips and systems for artificial intelligence, actually declared that their observations lead to conclude that today the power of AI is doubling every 2 months. So from doubling every 2 years to doubling every 4 months, we are now doubling the power of AI every 2 months. Will we be here in 2 years' time, in 2022, observing that AI is doubling in power every month? And what does that even mean? So there are many kinds of jolting technologies, not only artificial intelligence, quantum computing, photovoltaics and batteries, self-driving electric cars. These are going to disrupt many economic areas: energy, food, manufacturing, transportation, finance, and very importantly also policy making. Because as we look at these quantum technologies and artificial intelligence and photovoltaics and batteries and self-driving and electric cars, as they are impacting the economic areas of energy, food, manufacturing, and transportation, we are actually going to ask ourselves what to do about the social contract. How can we change it as we abandon slavery that was perceived as an unavoidable necessary component of society thousands of years ago, as we abandoned child labor, which only 200 years ago was believed to be unavoidable, and we had children 8, 10 years old working in mines. How will we adapt to a world where so many of the traditional jobs, not only mechanical, but also creative and cognitive, are done by AI? The first important step is to realize for businesses and society that human talent is not an externality. We cannot just aim to eliminate humans from society. And then we have to realize that artificial intelligence is not an enemy of humans. We have a common enemy, which is the set of dumb machines, dumb processes, mindless social contracts and agreements that we have to overcome. I want to conclude with a very concrete example. Torre is a platform that aims to make work fulfilling for all. Full disclosure, I'm an investor in Torre, and it is a professional network for remote and flexible work. It uses artificial intelligence in order to vastly increase the ability of the platform to match job seekers and talent seekers, in order not only to make sure that the skill is adequate for a given job, but the personality and the professional culture of a candidate is a good match with a team. The rich set of characteristics on the platform that profile the professional genome, as Torre says, is supported by the algorithms. And very aware of the power of these algorithms, Alexander Torrenegra, the founder and CEO of Torre, wrote the FAIR Manifesto, Frank Artificial Intelligence in Recruiting, that drives the principles of full disclosure, transparency, accountability, and systematic proactive reduction of discrimination and bias as the drivers for the right kind of balance between the power of artificial intelligence and the ability and the desire that we have to raise our moral ambitions. In the case of Torre, to make work fulfilling for all. In the case of other businesses and other organizations, complementary, ambitious missions that can be fulfilled at a planetary scale and beyond. Our ability to impact the planet is extreme. We have seen it. This power has been yielded blindly in the past. Today, we cannot afford to walk around with our eyes closed anymore. We can and we have to use the power of reason, science, and our objectives to create a future that is inclusive, empowering, and gives a platform, together with technologies as powerful as artificial intelligence, to give opportunities and fulfill those opportunities for everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, David, for your presentation. Amazing. I would like to remember to all of you here that if you want to make some questions, you need to send them to the organization, and then they will send them to me, to my mobile device, and then I will ask David Orban your questions. But for now, while I don't have them, I will ask him my questions. David, we saw here with your presentation that the world is aware of this change, of this challenge also. But my question is, half of the world is still afraid of the machines. Don't you agree?
And rightly so, because in the past, we have been deploying solutions in haste without the feedback loops that we must implement between technologists, businesses, regulators, and policymakers. These have to be extremely rapid because regulators don't have the solutions either. They don't have a crystal ball. So every regulation must be rapidly updated. And then more and more people can realize that technology is on their side. It is not against them.
Yes, when you say each one of us can make the difference, what do you mean by that?
Too many people believe that the power of technology is only available to the ultra-rich or the large organizations. But the barriers to entry are literally non-existent. Each of us have extremely powerful tools available to us. And it is only our desire to be a protagonist of this transformation that is needed. Taking the first step can be hard, but once we are in motion, more and more we realize that knowledge can be transformed in action.
For that, we need to communicate with people to teach them that there's nothing wrong. Instead of it, there's everything right, because we are improving, we are moving forward. But how can we reach them and teach them this? Because sometimes it's so hard to make them understand or to explain them that this is for good. For example, jobs. At the beginning of the century, everyone said, or maybe 10 years ago, at the beginning of the decade, the last decade, everyone said thousands, billions of jobs will disappear because of machines. Thousands of projects will be replaced, and people didn't realize how good it was.
The ability to learn is the first step. The desire to learn is a necessary component as well. Recognizing that authority doesn't mean omniscience. Whether I am a CEO or a head of government or even a teacher, the pedestal that I am put on is just a serendipitous consequence of certain happenstances it doesn't mean that I am right and everyone else is wrong. So getting off that pedestal and sharing in a much more peer-to-peer fashion rather than a hierarchical fashion, the concerns, the challenges, the open questions in a conversation is what makes everyone feel that they are part of the solution. And the platforms for those conversations are available. It can be Facebook in Europe or in the US. It will be a different platform in China, and there will be new platforms all over. The fact that these are today available, connecting billions of people together, and that they realize the challenges we have, is a wonderful first step in order to experiment with what are the right solutions. Only if we have thousands or millions of these experiments, we will be able to adopt actually what works. And it doesn't matter if that solution comes from one geographic area or another. Skype, for example, which used to be a leader in voice and video communications, really disrupting the traditional telecommunications paradigm, was born in Estonia. No one would have expected that. Even the Estonians were astonished. Similarly, exciting new solutions will be born in every possible continent, and we have to nurture a fertile environment that protects those who are brave enough to take the risks, knowing that 99 out of 100 will fail, but the one that succeeds will allow all of us to progress.
Failure is a huge thing and a big thing, don't you think?
In the past, society punished failure. Originally, if I left the cavern in prehistoric times and went left rather than right, by night I didn't come home and my wife knew that the saber-toothed tiger ate me. In the Middle Ages, if I told her that I wanted to open a tavern because I felt entrepreneurial and the tavern failed, I would end up in debtor's prison and probably died in 2-3 months. And my family would be reduced in abject poverty. But today, there are bankruptcy laws that allow people to take risks and make mistakes, and society says, okay, it is fine to not to make it. We want you to try. And society has to be understanding and has to support, whether we are talking about a startup or a large company, that of course, absent malice or fraud or criminal conduct, taking risks and not making it is part of the game.
Yes. David, what do you think would be the most amazing thing that machines and humans could do together?
It is what we are already doing, at least as far as I am concerned. On one hand, making sure that everyone can live a dignified, fulfilling life with the knowledge that also their children will inherit a planet that is as wonderful and rich as the one that they lived their lives on. On the other hand, we are already exploring the universe with the help of the machines. Our robotic companions are on Mars as we speak. We just landed on an asteroid in order to collect samples from it with an incredible precision, hundreds of millions of kilometers of journey over the course of many years, and we landed that robotic explorer with a few meters of precision at exactly the right time that we wanted. And together with AI and robots, we will keep exploring the universe. We will establish colonies on other planets and on moons, and maybe across the stars. And this is an adventure that will be unending.
Thank you, David Orban. Thank you so much for being with us and for teaching us a lot of things that we want to learn. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much also to you, to being here, to being there. That's a goodbye for me. Thank you for this invitation, for being here at these 2 days of Planetiers World Gathering. We need to talk about it. We need to talk about the future. Thank you so much. Have a good day.